Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of Game Chat. With me today we have Corey.
Hello. Hi.
And as you've probably guessed from the background on Corey's little video there, we're going to be talking all about Alan Wake 2. So, where do we want to start? We'll sort of start spoiler-free, if we can.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not going to be a very long section, the spoiler-free bit, because it's really hard to talk about this game without spoilers. But, Corey, what did you think? Just like general thoughts, spoiler-free.
General thoughts of Alan Wake 2. Okay, cool. It's very different from the first Alan Wake game, which is fine because the first Alan Wake game is obviously very old, and that was a fantastic game. This is brilliant. It's leaning far more into the survival horror aspects of the game at the moment. I don't think it's a spoiler to say that the game is split between two characters. That's been all over the PR material, and they do play quite differently. They've got similarities, but what they do is quite different, and that's cool as well. Overall, I think the game is fantastic. It's got a brilliant story, like fantastic story, but everything in the Remedyverse does. Gameplay is tight and solid. Yeah, it's really, really, really good game. Really good game. I'm very happy with it.
I agree. It's like you said, very different from the first Alan Wake. I've only recently played the first Alan Wake. I enjoyed it. Alan Wake 1 felt old to play, but I enjoyed it because of the story and like just the general world. But Alan Wake 2 is like, especially in terms of gameplay, is like way above what Alan Wake 1 is. But also keeping like the traditional stuff with like the light and stuff like that. So it's definitely, you can tell it's definitely like a sequel.
It's got the same like bloodline, like
same vibe. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. But you can also tell it's in the same world as Control at the same time.
Yes.
But yeah, I really enjoyed the story and all the characters. Gameplay wise, for me, it was good. It's nothing like amazing. It's not like it didn't like Control to me was like amazing gameplay wise, but Alan Wake, obviously it's a different genre. It's a survival horror. It's not going to be the same gameplay as Control, obviously, but like it just felt a bit basic to me. But like I enjoyed it still, and it was serviceable.
I get that, especially when you compare it to other games like in the survival horror genre. Like it's not as combat wise, it's not as tight as like Resident Evil 4 remake or like the Dead Space remake.
100%.
Like they're really, really tight combat experiences. Whereas this is very basic sort of gunplay. But it's less about that.
I feel like
from more where it building the atmosphere.
Where it lacks in some gameplay elements, it makes up for in terms of story, character, like atmosphere, and all that. Like that's like it's 10 out of 10 for the rest of it in this game, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and it's building on from the previous two games from Alan Wake, but especially more from Control. Like if you play Control and you really absorb everything that there was going on in Control, it really gives you a good idea of what is going on here and how what's happening, without getting into too many spoilers, how what's happening affects the world and how it affects the wider world rather than just what's happening in Bright Falls. It's really cool. I've not seen games that aren't direct sequels to each other be this connected to each other. And be this like from one lane to another lane to another. You can get into Alan Wake 2 and just play Alan Wake 2 and you'd have a good time. But playing the previous two adds so much more to it. Adds so much more.
I mean, even so, not just playing Control and Alan Wake 1, playing their other games that I would say sort of have a connection to this, but sort of don't. At the same time, it's like not officially, but kind of like it's very much like you can see the DNA of everything they've done in this.
I don't think it's too spoilery to say that like the Max Payne games link into it. The Max Payne games linked into Control in a couple of data points and into the original Alan Wake.
It's like they link not officially, but like because they've come out and said they're not officially in the world because they don't own the IP, but like you can tell, like there's you can look at the both of them and go, Oh yeah, I can see
Well,
where.
they've got it all there. The only thing they haven't got is the name, but everything else
Yeah,
is there with Alex Casey, including the voice actor and the original face
yeah.
of Max Payne. So it's all there. It's basically
Which helps
just
when
his.
the writer, when the face is the writer of the
Yes,
games.
it does. Yeah, it does. Yeah, yeah. I have no problems with getting him in to do what he needs to do at all. But no, it's really, really cool, man. Really cool. Yeah, getting into it. I don't know how much more we can go into without being mad spoilery.
I
But
just think presentation wise, I don't think I've played a game that
yeah,
mixes live action and gameplay
yeah,
as well as this
as
game
well.
does.
No,
Like
it
this
doesn't.
is, it's like
Did you
amazing.
play Quantum Break?
Yeah, we played it together,
Yeah,
Corey.
so we did play it together, didn't we? It's on the channel. My God, that was a long time ago. I completely forgot about that. Jeez,
Yeah, man.
I was a young man.
We will.
That was going through a similar sort of thing, but it didn't do it nearly as well because it was more of like, oh, let's have a gameplay section and then have basically like an episode.
Let's watch an episode of TV. It was interesting
Literally,
idea.
yeah.
You can see like
It was interesting.
what they've done in the past has kind of built up into what I imagine
Yeah.
this is like in terms
Yeah.
of like the perfect mix, in my opinion.
Yeah. But yeah, you can see what they're going for, and you can see how it's developed into this sort of thing. But no, it's really, really, really cool. Yeah, really cool. As I say, I don't know how much we can get into without spoiling it, but yeah, I feel like you're on about presentation wise, it really, really feels like a proper next gen game.
Yeah.
One of the few that I can really look at and go, this wouldn't have been possible on a.
Oh yeah, like
PS4.
some of the stuff they do in this game. It's
mad.
You're not going to be able to do it on an old
it's
console.
Mad.
Yeah.
Well, the graphical level that it's at is kind of getting insane. Look, it's a meaty game to run on a computer, and mine struggled, and I've got a really good computer.
Yeah.
But it's justifiable. Like there's a reason, and it's not just pushing it for the sake of pushing it. It's pushing it because it's doing really new things.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Yeah. And it's definitely one of those games where I'm like, when video games meet art in a way, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like it's definitely.
Yeah, we'll go more into that in a bit, but yeah, definitely. There's sections of this game where you just like you're blown away by the for what they're doing and how they're executing it.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much all we can say. Spoiler free.
Pretty much, yeah. I don't think we can. The problem with this sort of game is that it's so based and heavily on the story that you have to kind of just get into it.
Yeah.
So yeah, guys, that was the podcast. If you don't want any spoilers, enjoy the last 7 minutes or whatever that was, and we'll catch you after you've played the actual game.
Yes, do come back.
God, but if you haven't, if you haven't played the game yet and you're watching this, go and play the game.
Yeah.
Because you'll regret not playing the game and listening to it or seeing stuff online about it.
One of the best.
It's one of those experiences.
One of the best, arguably the best game of the show. So
yeah. It's up there. It's
Yeah.
up there, and in the world as in a year as incredible as this is, it's a very high bar.
Yeah,
very high
100%.
bar to beat.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, okay, and so diving straight into the spoilers, we've got main characters. Of course, we've got Alan Wake, but we don't actually start or see Alan Wake for a little while.
Yeah,
we start with Saga Anderson, a brand new character to the universe. You're playing with as Saga, and you're being chaperoned by your partner Alex Casey. Not the same Alex Casey, but Alex Casey, the FBI agent.
Yeah,
Alex
and
Casey,
already at that point, you're like, well, this is weird.
This is weird.
There's going to be a big, complicated story reason behind this.
Yeah. So yeah, you're going to Bright Falls to investigate a murder, or is it a series of murders? That are being perpetrated by a cult.
Yeah, cult
and,
activity.
That's all you know. Yeah, that's all you know when you're on your way there. On the way to Bright Falls, another murder happens. And that's our good friend Nightingale.
Yeah, you kind of play that bit as well.
You do, yeah. So that's actually the very beginning of the game, is you play as Nightingale as he crawls out of Cauldron Lake and then walks up and interacts with the cult, and things happen. And,
very wild starts the game when I'm just like, oh, I am this big naked man. I was like, okay.
Big naked fat guy, yeah.
Yeah.
And you're just like, you come crawling out of the sea and just go basically up into the forest, and you get accosted by
Yeah,
what is called,
definitely
and then
straight away throws the horror elements into it, like
yeah,
because they're all, you can
yeah,
see them moving through the
exactly.
bushes and all that. It's really cool.
Yeah. And then you get to the point where you are, as you're playing Gaze, and you are the one that's murdered, and
Yeah,
then you transfer over to Saga and Alex. Really cool start, really good opening.
yeah.
Gets you interested immediately. If I don't think you know it's Nightingale to begin with.
No, but when you realize it is, you're
Um,
like, oh,
yeah,
that's the
yeah,
guy. That's the guy from the
that's
first one.
a hard link back to the first game. Yeah, immediately. Really cool, man. Really cool.
Mm.
Gets you gripped
Yeah,
immediately. So then you go as you go off as Saga and start doing your investigation into who this guy is and what happened to him, and eventually you make your way into the town of Bright Falls. You go to the police station, and everything just starts kicking off,
yeah, man.
and it starts getting crazy.
I like. So, what do you think of Saga just in general? Like,
I think she's cool.
mm,
I do like the character of Saga. Obviously, there's a lot more going on with Saga as you play her
yeah,
more,
yeah,
and
definitely.
you find out things about her. Um, but she's a cool character. She's obviously very good at her job. Later on, we find out why she's so good at her job.
Mm.
She's cool. No, she's cool. She's a good new character. I'm glad they brought her in rather than just having you play as like Alex for
Yeah,
the whole game.
I think it works as like a gateway for people who haven't played the other games as well. Like, because she's learning the information as they would be learning it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
like she's new to this world. She doesn't know really anything much about Alan Wake or what's going on with like what the Federal Bureau of Control actually do and all that.
yeah.
Like, it's cool seeing it from her point of view because she doesn't know nothing. Um,
Yeah, exactly. She's coming into just completely fresh new situation, just a normal murder investigation.
mm,
She doesn't know anything about like the supernatural abilities of anything, or like the Federal Bureau of Control is in the game, but they don't seem to be very much of a known entity in the game.
yeah, they
Not
just
people
kind
know
of
their name, and that's about it.
yeah, they don't know what they do officially.
No,
Yeah,
no. So that whole side of like the paranatural side of it is all kept away until obviously you end up getting stuck
yeah.
into the middle of it all, and then when you eventually do investigation and you get Nightingale's body into the morgue, and it all goes crazy from there.
Yeah,
Then it
people
really
start disappearing.
opens up. Yeah,
Like
yeah. People start literally disappearing. Yeah,
Tim
the sheriff,
Breaker just
Tim
disappears.
Breaker. Yeah.
Yeah, I have theories about him that we will talk about later.
Yeah.
But yeah, he just disappears, Mr. Iceman from X-Men.
It's cool having him in. That was cool having him in there. I was like,
Yeah.
well, you're going to be something in this. Like,
Yes.
they're not going to have you
Yeah,
just to be this little
100%,
bit as soon as I saw him.
But yeah, like, what are your thoughts on Saga's like whole big mechanic of the whole mind place?
The mind place, yeah.
Yeah.
I liked it. I found it quite cool. I know it's not going to be everybody's cup of tea because it does slow the gameplay down. But I enjoyed it. I'm not gonna lie. Linking everything up together and then having it all in one place, and then you use that as kind of like your hub area as well. So that's where you do your weapon upgrade. It's where you go and check your files. You do your profiling. Profiling's really cool.
I think profiling is the best bit in that place.
Yeah. It's really cool. She's just like can basically like telepathically almost link to people and find out what they want to do and find out what they're thinking. She thinks that that's just her intuition, whereas later we'll talk about it more, but that is not her intuition.
Yeah.
Womanly intuition is not that strong, I'm sorry to tell you, ladies. It's not what she was having. I think it was cool. It was I enjoyed it. I like that they had that place to go rather than having like a pause screen to go and do those things.
Yeah.
I think it made it much more interactive.
I liked that it was just a quick switch to you're in that place. That was like well impressive.
There's no loading screen.
That was showing like the proper power of like SSD like loaded and all that we've got now.
The next gen again. That's another thing. In fact, the next gen isn't just about like
That's the most impressive thing so far, in my opinion, in terms of general
loading stuff.
Like
it's cool.
Next gen stuff.
Just being able to bounce around like that.
Yeah. I liked the mechanic of the whole putting the stuff on the wall. But I can't deny that I was a bit disappointed with it because I thought because it to me it was very handholdy. Like you weren't really working stuff out much. It was more it doesn't go there, it must go here, blah blah
I
blah
did have
kind
a
of
couple
thing.
of points where I was just like, I don't know where it goes. I'm just going to spam every point until it
Yeah,
fits,
yeah,
basically.
and it's like I kind of wish it was more in, investigative, if that's the word. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
yeah.
if you're doing the actual like figuring it
You're
out.
having to work it
Where
out.
yeah,
Yeah,
whereas I
yeah,
feel like it's very handholdy in terms of that. But I do think it acts well as a story reminder. Like if you ever
yeah.
forget what you're doing, or like need to go back and remind yourself of what you know, you just
Yeah,
loaded in after a couple of nights or whatever, just figuring out what's going on. To go back to that and read through, like, all right, this was what I was doing. This is how everything's linked in. It's
yeah,
cool.
yeah,
It works really well as that. But like I felt with how much they were bigging it up, I wanted it to be more involved. You know what I mean?
yeah, 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 yeah.
But I feel like Alan's side of that one is better.
Yeah.
But we'll get
Yeah,
onto
like
that
they
later.
don't
But
have
yeah,
you actually like breaking down investigations on Alan's
yeah.
side, do you? So Alan does have a similar thing
Mm.
with his mind place as it is.
The writer's
Um,
room.
yeah, if you played Control, you'd know that there's a type of person and they're called power utilitarians, and that's what Alan is, and that's what you later find out that. But Saga is are
Yeah.
these special people that
People with
can do
special powers.
people with special powers. Basically, yeah, they can do certain things. There's these things called objects of power, which these power utilitarians can interact with these objects of power and use their power. Not everybody can, but some people can. Um, yeah, yeah. Basically, these two guys are they don't know that they're these things, but they have these special powers that interact with the world in very special ways. Again, this is what Saga's mind place comes into. That's part of her power. Alan's is being able to use things like from the first game, like using the clicker and being able to interact with the world and not be taken immediately by darkness and things like that. At the time in the first game, this wasn't set up, so he didn't know that he was
Yeah.
one of these things and he had these special powers. But you find out later on that yeah, he does. Especially from Control.
Yeah.
You find out that Alan
It's got like the
does.
power to change
He's
what's
a
going
special
on.
human being, basically. Yeah, he can use this stuff.
It's like an interesting take on superheroes in a way. You know what I
It
mean?
is. It is. Yeah. I mean, if you play Control and you've obviously played like as Jesse Faden, like
Yeah.
he's an actual
Yeah.
legit superhero. Like just do mad shit in that game, whereas
Yeah. Yeah.
everybody else is kind of like
Quirks.
they've got like yeah quirks, like the stuff that makes them a bit better than other people or lets them do certain things in certain environments. Whereas Jesse's just like
Throwing
like
shit
the
everywhere
entire
with
Marvel cast in one.
telekinesis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was. She is. That's what you get as being the director of the FBC.
Yeah.
But yeah, getting back into it. With Saga, I think she's really cool. You find out more about her. She gets pulled in by. You find out she gets pulled in to the story by Alan.
Yeah.
To
That was
be
one of the big
developed into the
twists.
hero. It's one of the big twists. Yeah, that Alan's. You think that Alan's writing a story in the background. It doesn't end up actually being that. It's just Alan's editing the story. Saga's in the story, but Alan makes her the hero of the story. So technically, Alan didn't write her in. He just redeveloped her to be the hero. Because if you played the first game, just getting deep into the game now with stuff like this, but if you played the first game, if you played things like American Nightmare, you would have heard the name Scratch. And Scratch actually wrote the story. And Alan's frantically trying to edit it to make it so Scratch doesn't win, basically.
Yeah. He's the main antagonist of
Yeah.
this whole
Scratch
situation.
is the main antagonist.
He's
Yeah,
basically
exactly.
the dark place.
Yeah. Well, I don't think he is. I don't think that's how it works. Is an end. Yeah. So I think you have the dark place, and you have the darkness, and the darkness is from the dark place, but they're not one and the same.
Okay.
So the like Alan, because if he was, then why wouldn't he just immediately get Alan? If he was the entire place, if he could, I don't think he can. I think Cauldron Lake takes you to the dark place, and the dark place, the darkness resides in the dark place.
Yeah,
and that's what Scratch. That's what Scratch is trying to do in the first and second game. Is he's trying to get out of the dark place, but he needs the help of something to do that.
Yeah, he needs an entity to kind of like possess.
He needs an entity
to get out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, pretty much exactly that. And he needs a specific kind of entity in order to do that. So from the previously, we know that the Cauldron Lake has taken Thomas Zane. He's in this game as well. Thomas Zane, you do see.
I liked that he was basically the same actor as Alan Wake without a beard.
He's the same actor, yeah, exactly. But he's doing his own voice acting as opposed to having a separate voice actor, which I think they did very well, especially in live action parts. You would
not. I don't think you could tell. Like the dub was on point, man.
At certain points you could. During the song you couldn't, but at certain points you could tell it was a dub. But they did very, very well. They did as well as they could.
Because Sam Lake's dubbed as well completely.
He is, yes.
It's wild that it's so well done. It's so impressive.
Yeah. But you don't really see much live action Sam Lake, to be honest. You see him in the game, and obviously in the game it's much easier.
Yeah, you see a bit of him.
And then the live action stuff, you do see a bit of him, but the bit of him that you see is him using his own voice.
Not always.
Sam Lake.
Not when he's playing Alex Casey. There is live action stuff where he's playing Alex Casey.
There is. It's like when you've got the in-game stuff where where he's talking there, but again, then you can't
really tell.
You can't see much of his voice. You can't see much of his face when he's doing that.
Yeah, it's more of a shadow kind of thing.
Yeah. But still very, very well done. Like I said, the combination of live action and gameplay is top notch.
Never seen done before, and it's on point.
Yeah. No, it's really, really good. Really well done. Gosh, what was I saying before that?
Saga.
Please forget that. Just talking about Saga. Talking about we'll do not even talking about Saga. We'll get it all out regarding Saga. And in reference, we'll have to talk about some other characters as well. So Saga, she's got these powers, gives her a mind place. She thinks her intuition makes her really good at investigating. It doesn't. She actually has the ability to read people's thoughts and pull the truth out of people.
Yeah, she's got interrogation superpowers.
Literally, an interrogation super ability where she can ask people questions within her mind place, and then they can provide an answer. And if the answer isn't what she needs, she can then go again and force an answer out of the individual, which is really, really cool.
That was some of the cooler bits of the profiling stuff. Absolutely.
But she had to ask again, and then everything went red, and she was like, "Bitch, you're gonna tell me this."
Yeah. Crazy power to have, makes complete sense in her line of work.
Yeah.
You can see where she got there.
Exactly. I imagine that's why she got into that line of work, because she had this sort of innate ability to do it. You find out, so the way that the story's made, she believes that she's being written into the story, and her family is then being made involved by Alan in the story.
Yeah, it really adds stakes to the story when she finds out that her daughter's in it, and she's like, "Fuck this, not having this."
And her daughter's dead in the story. Her daughter died. So she's like, "What the hell?" So she's trying to find out what's real, what's not real. She's not being affected by the story because I imagine she has these additional powers because she's a power utilitarian.
Yeah, I can see through it.
She can see through it, whereas most can't. Most in the area can't, but she can. In the story, it's written that she's from Bright Falls, and she's got family in Bright Falls. You later find out that that's actually real, and that she is from Bright Falls.
But she's there, thinking this ain't real. This isn't my life.
She doesn't exactly, because she can't comprehend the fact that she's from there. Because she was only a child when she was taken away. But her mum is from Bright Falls. She had her while she was in Bright Falls. They stayed there for a while and then moved away. So her grandfather is actually in Bright Falls, as well as her grandfather's brother, who are Thor and Odin.
Yeah,
of the old sons of Asgard.
Old gods of Asgard. Yeah.
Old gods of Asgard. Yeah. That Thor's her grandfather, and Odin's her uncle.
That's a cool little twist.
It is a cool little twist. It is a cool, because when you first hear that in the game, you're like, well, this is just more of the
story being changed,
crap, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you actually find out, oh no, this is real. Okay, then that's really cool. So then you find out they kind of have the
similar powers, and that makes sense why she has hers. Like when they start invading her mind place and stuff, like when she's doing
and talking
stuff,
and talking to her rather than the other way around.
Interesting way to be able to communicate as well, like without anyone knowing.
Yeah. Because you can do it from quite a distance as well. Because there's points where you're doing it. Normally they'd be doing it and they'd be in
next to each other
to where she is. But then you find out that like Odin's talking to her from like across the entire
Yeah,
town.
because he's in the nursing home and she's in Bright Falls, which is like the other side. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like a really good walkie-talkie, and also he's in like a coma at the same time, like mad stuff. But that's really cool. All the Andersons have that power, so everyone on her mother's side has that power. I wonder if her mom had that power.
Do you reckon her daughter has it then?
Probably, most likely, yeah. All the Andersons. The Torn Odin did say all the Andersons have it, so
yeah,
most likely, yeah. I would think so.
That's a future thing they can kind of pull on for later, maybe.
They can do, but I think they'll just stick with Saga. To be
honest. For now, but like I'm on about 20 years down the line when they're still going.
Yeah. We'll see. That gets even madder. But that's just one side of Saga's family. The other side,
they don't confirm her dad is, but I'm pretty sure it's a certain character. I see. Me and Kate were debating this, but then again, he doesn't confirm it later, which is interesting.
It has to be.
I think it is still.
The prevailing theory is that Mr. Door is her father. So you'll see Mr. Door a few times through the game. He's a mysterious character that you see in the Dark Place. He interviews Alan in the studio. He also does the Alan Wake the musical. But then he also has one moment where
best bit.
Yeah, he has one moment where he doesn't do any of the talk show stuff, and he just has like a frank conversation with Alan about what's going on in the world, and about like playing his part and things like that. Several nice like cool tidbits come from that. But right now, the main part I want to focus on in relation to Saga is saying that he said that Alan had pulled people that he cares about into the situation.
Yeah.
And the only person that could be would be Saga.
Yeah.
I can't think of anybody else in that world that Mr. Door would have.
Yeah. I have extra theories about Mr. Door, but we can get into that later if you want. But
we'll talk about Mr. Door now because it's gonna. There's further proof that Saga is Mr. Door's daughter because of other things. So Mr. Door is thought of being another paranatural being, para-utilitarian person who can travel between worlds, and he can use the Dark Place to do so. So he goes into the Dark Place from somewhere and then exits the Dark Place to wherever he wants to be, and he can do that at will. Like he's not stuck in the Dark Place like Alan is. He can come and go as he likes. The reason he's there with Alan in the Dark Place is trying to help Alan. But he's trying to help Alan in a way that's fitting
in a passive way.
The story.
Yeah.
The problem is because the way that the Dark Place works is everything has to fit within the story. It gains power from stories and art, basically. So everything that's done there has to fit within it.
I still don't think he's a good guy because I feel with the fact that Tim Breaker's looking for him and he's like doing every time you see him with his little whistling, he's got like a board looking for him and stuff. Like. Just like how like Max Payne is in the game, but it's not. I think these are what the two characters from Quantum Break, but not. If you know what I mean.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So Mr. Door, the other prevailing theory is that
is it Martin Hatch? Is that his name?
Hatch. Yes, Hatch is an alternative universe version of Door.
Yeah, and there was mention in Quantum Break of being that the whole point of that is. It's about alternate universes and all that, so like it kind of makes sense that like there would be another version of him. And my other theory about this is apparently originally cast was
Lance Reddick was going to play
Lance Reddick, and he was Martin Hatch. So
so that
it would make sense.
Exactly, yeah. So that's why the prevailing theory was that Hatch was Door. They don't own the Quantum Break license. They can't use those characters in the game, but they can just change them up, like you said, just like Alex Casey. They can just change them up, but still kind of have.
But they've changed them up, but it seems like Door and Hatch. You know what I mean? Like it's very much like
it's obvious, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's obvious.
Yeah,
it's obvious. So I agree. I think that they're the same character.
It allows them to kind of like jump over the legal lines.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I agree. So I think that's. But another thing that happens with Mr. Door is that it's explained in one of the manuscripts that Door used a particular door in the dark place in order to leave, in order to go places, and it's told you by, I think, is it Tim that Tim
Yeah,
tells you
Tim
that as
tells you
well.
that. Yeah.
So then, at this point, Saga is in a dark place and she's trying to escape. And she's like, "Well, if he can do it, I can do it too." And she goes and tries to do it. And then this door takes her to another place, and she does escape the dark place eventually through this place by going through the door and then going through the fountain again. Which I don't think would have worked if she wasn't his daughter.
Okay.
She can only do that because she has the same power, because she is his daughter. She has the stuff from the Anderson side, but she also has stuff from Mr. Door's side. If it was that easy, then Tim Breaker would have done it already.
True.
Alan would have
no, but he's looking for Mr. Door though, so he's a reason to stay there.
I don't think he wants to stay there. If he could get out, he would.
Yeah.
Why would you want to be there?
True.
He's only looking for Mr. Door and researching into Mr. Door because he thinks that's his way out.
Yeah.
I believe.
Maybe.
Because he knows that Mr. Door can come and go as he likes. Yeah, that's another like heavy reason that I think Alan was.
I did have that theory, but I feel like they kind of like squashed it later. But I can't remember what they did. They did something, and I was like, oh, maybe not then. But like, I'm open with for it. Like I was like all for it at one point. I was like, yeah, it's definitely a death.
I wouldn't be surprised. Also, it's another reason why is the original casting. The original idea for Saga Anderson was as a white Swedish woman, and this was shown in Quantum Break. When they were showing off Alex Casey and Saga Anderson. You didn't know it was them at the time, but that's who it was.
You go back and watch that. It's basically the same. The whole story of Alan Wake 2.
It's exactly the same. It's all there. But then the Alan Wake 2 actually comes out, and she's been recast as a black lady.
Yeah.
The only other black character in the whole game is Mr. Door.
I didn't want to assume though when that happened.
No, but
you know what I mean?
I feel that that's a purposeful choice.
Yeah, no, probably.
I feel that's a purposeful choice.
Yeah. I can see it.
Yeah, that's why. But yeah, Mr. Door, I reckon I'll be a DLC about Mr. Door.
And I reckon Tim Breaker will be involved because you don't get an actor like that as well. What's his name? Sean Ashmore. You don't get him without,
intention. Yeah.
Using him
for sure
to a better extent than they already have.
So yeah, I reckon we'll either get a DLC or like an expansion, maybe like kind of got like an American Nightmare sort of thing about Saga.
Eventually, something to do like maybe a Quantum Break 2, but not Quantum Break, if you know what I mean. It's not called Quantum Break.
Yeah. But something else.
Time Snap.
You're playing is Tim Breaker, yeah. Time Snap, or something like that. But that's why I think Saga is his daughter. And this is why Saga has all these additional powers that are more than what the Andersons had. I think she has the ability to traverse worlds through the dark place, and I think that'll factor into DLC in the future as well.
Yeah,
where she'll be able to like use that.
Because we've got 2 DLCs coming for this next year.
Yeah, I heard.
Mystic Falls and something else. I can't remember. The Lake House.
Lodge.
Yeah, the Lake House or something. Yeah,
the Lake House. That's it. The Lake House. Yeah, that's going to be like a more of like a control focused DLC because they talk multiple times in the game about how their main base in Bright Falls is in the Lake House.
Yeah.
So that'll be very, very controlled.
Wonder if we'll see Jesse Faden in that one.
Don't know. And if you do, what form you're going to see her in? She can't be like as hyped up superpowered as she is.
Yeah.
I mean, she could be.
She could.
Basically a control DLC.
Yeah.
Also,
that's the dark place. Strips of her powers.
True, she could get in there and she hasn't got anything left, or she has like very reduced, reduced ability. Maybe she just retains the gun or something.
Yeah.
We also see, along with Jesse, you see Dr. Darling in a couple of videos.
Yeah, he's in like popping up on the TV every now and then. Like some of them you can very easily miss, but you also see Jesse as well doing it in there as well.
Yeah. Which is really interesting because Dr. Darling isn't in control. He's missing. He's gone. He's lost.
Yeah,
he's not in the game at all. You see videos of the things that he's done, and like how he's been affected by Hadron, which is like your main ally in the first in Control. But you don't actually see Dr. Darling himself in like a present tense.
He's
and
like
nobody
on the
knows
TV
where he is. Yeah. Nobody knows where he is. He does contact you through the hotline once or twice. But usually the people that contact you for the hotline are dead.
Yeah.
So you don't know what's going on with Dr. Darling. But in this, he's like it's almost like he's trying to reach out to Alan.
You reckon he's trapped in the dark place as well?
No. I feel like he's on the outside in the cabin in the lake house, using equipment and trying to get a hold of Alan like that.
Do you reckon that's what the
Jesse's
DLC
there with him
is?
to
Do
do
you
it.
reckon it's them two in the DLC?
Maybe that's exactly what it's going to be. Maybe it's going to be them in the lodge. The lodge. Keep calling it the lodge. In the lake house. I imagine it's the lake house that was in Alan Wake 1.
Yeah.
It's got to be the same thing, even though you don't see it in Alan Wake 2.
Yeah. We just see the lake, don't you?
Yeah.
Well, it never existed. That's the whole point in it. Is like it doesn't exist in the actual map.
That's the whole thing. It's part of the story.
Yeah.
But obviously, if they reference it in the game.
They're in there.
It'll be there. It's going to be in the DLC. It'll be there.
Yeah.
So it'll be really interesting to see. I'm very excited to see more Control stuff.
Yeah.
Also confirmed now is that Control 2 is being worked on. So
yeah.
Super excited.
Early on though, which I was hoping it would be quicker.
No,
but
we're a way off, but still, it's all right. As long as it's happening, that's fine.
I'm happy to let them cook on these games and let them make them as good as they are. Like
Remedy know what they're doing; they can get the time.
Yeah.
They've got the reputation now. Like the problem with Remedy games is they don't sell a ton. Like Control recently only sold like 3 million, which for a game that good is insane.
Control should have won Game of the Year that year. It didn't.
It should have. It really should have. Alan Wake 2 will sell a lot better, to be honest. Like the world is hyped around Alan Wake 2.
Yeah,
it's really, really good. But anyway, that's off topic. But yeah, DLC will get me to the door. That's all. Yeah, Dr. Darling confused me. I'm excited to find out what's going on with that. And Jesse, because you see Jesse as well.
Also, speaking of Door quickly, Door was mentioned in Control a decent amount by the brother.
In Control by the brother?
Yeah. The brother talks about him.
Does he?
Yep, Mr. Door. Like literally says the word Mr. Door. So that was set up already in Control.
I'm literally playing. I completed Control 2 days ago again for the 4th time. I've obviously completely.
Because I went back and watched like connections and stuff because I was going to go back and play the game again. Although I do need to go play the DLCs because I never actually did them. But he does mention Mr. Door several times, and it's like, and that was who he was talking to like connect to the hiss or whatever or something like that. So like, that could have something to do with the future of it. But it's all connected
again because obviously he's the brother is a bad guy in the game, and he's obviously bad. So Mr. Door is very it's very unknown what his intentions are, isn't it?
Yeah, you don't know whether they're sinister or whether
exactly. He's obviously a bad guy in Quantum Break.
Yeah, but that could be that's a version of him. It's not the same.
It's a version. You don't know. You don't know.
Yeah.
It might be. I really like when they was having the serious conversation. Like he was really Lance Reddick it up. Like
you can tell. Even when I first saw him, I was like, I wonder if this role was meant to go to Lance Reddick because he was like his cadence and the way he was talking and everything was very Lance Reddick, and I was like, and then obviously I googled it and it apparently was meant to be him, but also he's in the credits. It's like thank you to Lance Reddick and all that. So
I saw that. I mean, apparently, it's not because Lance Reddick died. This was done by the time that Lance Reddick died. It was because Lance Reddick was too busy on other projects.
Well, so my guess he was too ill.
Either too ill, or it was like, or it would have been John Wick, or it would have been what else was he doing at the same time?
Horizon,
he was doing
Destiny,
Horizon. That was it.
The many
Horizon
things
DLC.
that he's in. Yeah.
Is it in the Horizon DLC?
He is. Not much though.
Silence. No, okay.
Because that he didn't get to,
that yet.
he didn't get to do much before that happened.
Yeah,
what happened,
of course.
So,
of course.
Yeah.
But and obviously being ill, so they had to recast him, which is unfortunate. But it's not like a sly against I forget the guy's name who's actually playing Mr. Door, but he's very good. He's very good.
Yeah, very, very good. Like,
he's
spot on to what if he is meant to be Lance Reddick, like. Good job.
They're doing a job. They're doing a good job.
Yeah,
doing a very good job.
100%.
Mr. Door, is there anything else regarding Mr. Door? He's just
a bit of a mystery at the moment. It's like it's one of them we'll find out. Like
it's probably the biggest mystery, the second biggest mysterious character in the game. the second most mysterious character in the game.
Who's the
Because
first?
the most mysterious character is Artie, by far. Artie is
Yeah.
by
But
far the most mysterious
he's
character
just
in
kind
the
of
whole
like a man of
verse.
mystery just appearing everywhere. Like, I just kind of expect that.
Artie is an omnipotent being that can do anything he
I
likes.
don't expect him to get
likes.
explained anytime soon.
Neither do I, and that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. I love him as just like the guy who appears to help out every now and then. Like,
so because he doesn't abide by any of the rules of anywhere that he's in.
Yeah,
like you got the oldest house, and that's
because like he's meant to be the janitor. He's meant to be the janitor of it, and it's like, but he's kind of, but he lives in the nursing home in Bright Falls, so it's like, huh.
I don't think he does live there.
Yeah.
I think he just went there. I think in Control he went on holiday, if you remember.
Yeah, it's just a little holiday.
It's now confirmed that Bright Falls was where he went on holiday. So the reason it's confirmed is when you're in Control, you get a postcard from him.
Yeah.
At a cabin, which is a sauna that he's at. And
then well, there you go.
You go to that.
Sauna.
You go to the exact cabin sauna in Bright Falls when you go to the Dark Place of Saga, and you got that looping one in the forest. After I think it's the third one for her. We have to go. It's the one where you go down the well, and then you come out into the.
That's such a sick quest to the game. I love that.
It was a cool one. But that cabin that you see at the beginning of that is Artie's cabin.
Yeah,
because
you hear his song on the radio as well as Yeah.
So it's confirmed that he goes to Bright Falls for his holiday during Control. So this might be happening at a similar time or just after when all that happened. That's why Artie's in Bright Falls. He said he did.
Is that why the FBC are struggling to get reinforcements? Because they're busy.
Yeah, exactly. Because the lead investigator says that there's issues at the FBC. Because even after the game's finished, the place is still on lockdown because there's still hiss around.
Yeah,
that need to be dealt with before they can open back up. Don't know how long that situation took to resolve. So
yeah,
that's what's going on with that. What else? What's there? Tons. We haven't even spoken about Alan yet.
Yeah, should we start about Alan? Like,
should we? Yeah. I'll try to get like some other minor characters and the characters that were like around Saga.
Yeah, I mean, you had the fucking all the cult people, which turned out not to be that bad of a cult. Like,
they're actually good guys.
They're good guys
the whole time, but they actually end up being the good guys, and they're the ones.
It's good. They kind of had a little. They kind of sort of had a good plan. Like, calling them a cult made them scary, so people didn't go into the forest to get taken by the fucking lake or whatever. Like, and it's cool. But they did it well, but it kind of like backfired on them a bit.
It did, but it's unfortunate because the two brothers were really cool. One of them dies.
Yeah, big beardy one.
Scratch kills him, unfortunately. But we'll talk more about Scratch when we talk about Alan. But they were cool, and I like the little videos around and stuff.
Oh,
and the videos.
Yeah. The videos are so fucking funny. It took me so long, but I only realised. Have you ever watched Vikings?
No.
Like me and Kate were like, we recognise this guy. Like, we know this guy so bad. And then he's like King Harold in Vikings, and like one of mine and Kate's favourite character. And we were like, oh shit, it's fucking King Harold.
But they're getting real actors.
He's a proper good actor, man. He's like, he's a great actor. But like you can tell he was having so much fun doing those little videos.
Yeah. No, they were cool, man. Gosh, they were great. Who else? Got the minor characters like Rose and things like that. Rose is cool.
Rose was cool. Like speaking to Alan, and Alan's like getting messages from Alan, and Alan's like, what?
What are you talking about? But
do they ever resolve that? Do they ever resolve? No. They don't, do they?
She's like, I got messages from Alan in the clouds, and Alan's like, I don't know what the fuck you're on about. I didn't do shit. But
what if that's her fan fiction coming to life? I did think this. Could she write a load of fan fiction?
It could also just be Alan's done these things and forgotten about them because a whole big
that
he goes to loops and he forgets. The dark place makes him forget. And gosh, there's a bunch of returning characters from the first game. You got a bunch of and I forget her name, the lady with the lantern.
Oh yeah,
she's back.
F for her.
I know, she's back and she's a baddie in this, and she's probably one of the harder boss fights in the game.
Cynthia. Is it Cynthia?
Cynthia, that's it.
Yeah,
Yeah, Cynthia. Yeah. She was a cool fight in like
yeah,
in the
yeah.
water and
She's
everything.
the lady that picks you up at the end
Yeah.
and shows you where the clicker is and everything in the first one.
Yes.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I was like, oh shit,
She's like
it's the lady with the lamp, and then you're reading stuff
she's a
about like how a
saving
lamp was
grace.
broken or whatever, and it's like, oh no,
Yeah.
she
Yeah, it's a
helped
shame.
us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a shame.
cool boss fight though, definitely. The boss fights in
Cool
this are
boss
pretty
fight.
cool.
Yeah, they were. They did a good job, and they were different. Like you're not doing the same thing over and over again for a boss
Yeah,
fight. Like
yeah.
each one was had its own like things going on.
I think hers was one of the most memorable, especially when she's coming through the water, because I just don't like water
Yeah.
stuff. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah. Luckily, she didn't get me. Look, I didn't want to find out what happened if she got you in the water. And she never
Yeah.
actually got me while I was in the water.
She got me
so
a couple of
it's fine.
times, and I was like,
Did she?
yeah, mate, fucking, she jumps out, it's fucking terrifying.
Yeah, I managed to avoid that.
Be glad
Let's just
you
dive
did.
into Alan then. Yeah, dive into Alan.
Yeah.
When do you first see Alan? What, I know, is it right after Saga is in the police station? I forget when Alan first comes into it.
I genuinely can't remember, but like, I just know
Oh,
he's in Dark
do you
Place straight
first
away.
see Alan when he
the
washes
first.
up on the beach?
No.
Is that not the first time you see him? When do you first see him?
I feel like the first time you see him is when he's doing the little talk show.
Is it?
Potentially. Yeah.
Is it when you first play him?
Or is it when he washes up on the beach and he's telling the story about what happened?
I'm sure it's when he washes up on the beach and then he starts telling you what's going on, and then you switch over to him in a dark place.
Maybe.
Like,
yeah. And he's just telling you what happened, and then that's when you're doing it.
Yeah.
Were you sus of him from the beginning when he washed up on the beach?
Well, you gotta be, aren't you? Because if you played the first two games, you know that Alan and Scratch both look the same.
Yeah.
And
he was the biggest sus for me is when he was getting interviewed by them two, and he was wearing the fucking American Nightmare outfit, which is all about Scratch, and I was like,
what's going
this
on
is
here,
sus.
But he was like Scratch was like a dick. Like Scratch was a sarcastic arsehole.
Yeah.
Whereas this was very clearly Alan that was talking to you.
Yeah, but I thought I was along the idea. Well, I was kind of half right, but I was like, I reckon he's just like hiding within him. But like, so I was sort of right, but like, I was like, this is shifty.
Yeah. So getting into the Alan Wake side of things. So Alan Wake stuff is all, well, I say 95% in the Dark Place.
Yeah.
And the Dark Place has its own stuff, has its own mechanics, that's how it works. It's like a shifting area. Like you'll go through a door down a hallway, you'll come out and you'll end up like 2 stories up on the top of a building, which isn't feasibly possible from the way that you went.
Yeah.
It's really, really cool. And it's really cool what they did with like the space shifting and all that. You're fighting shadows that
the fucking the way they build atmosphere in that really fucking cool area is just like, I'm so on edge just walking through it anyway, because you don't know which shadow creatures are going to attack you necessarily all the time.
I don't know if there's a proper way to tell. Like you can,
I don't think there is.
Keep your flashlight on them. Some of them will just disappear.
Yeah, but I don't want to waste my flashlight on like so many people. Well,
you don't need to. If you just have your normal flashlight on them, and then leave for like 10 seconds, they might disappear. If they don't disappear, then they're gonna pop out.
Yeah, but then they're too close at that point, and I'm like, shit.
Yeah.
But like,
that is the thing as well. Yeah, you can wait for them to come to you.
It's so like unnerving when all you're hearing behind, especially when you're wearing like if you got 3D headphones on, and all you're hearing is it's just like, oh no.
It's creepy, and they're doing a really good job of that. I'm pretty sure as well, all of the when they do pop out, I'm pretty sure they're all Alan, like different versions of Alan.
I did wonder that, because they're all wearing different outfits that I feel like I've seen before.
Outfits, but I'm sure that they've all got Alan's face. Even though it's always obscured, I'm pretty sure they're all, and that's like the part of him being in the Dark Place and writing the stories and the different stories that they're all those dark things are Alan.
Because they're all like, all you hear is like they're either saying Alan Wake, or they're like, this is my story, or stuff like that, and it's just like, it's weird. They are all weird. It just creeps me out. I don't like it.
No, it's cool though. So Alan's obviously got his own mechanics when he's in the Dark Place. The first of which you really encounter is you get the lamp. You get the lamp that the clicker came from, apparently.
Yes.
And this is Thomas Zane's lamp. And then you can pull the light out of objects and put light back into objects.
Yeah, and it changes the world around you.
In order to change the world around
It's so
you, yeah.
cool.
So like you could take the light away and a wall that was there would disappear, or vice versa.
Yeah.
It's really cool little mechanic that's like expanded upon with other things later on.
Yeah, and again, showing the power of that SSD, like with just the environments changing instantly around you. It's just so cool.
Fully changing, yeah. It's really cool. It's cool what they've done, the technology they've got, and because it's all built on the stuff that they did for Quantum Break.
Yeah.
And then they expanded upon in Control, and then really like they put it on thick with Alan Wake too.
Yeah.
But it's really cool. The other thing that Alan can do is change the story in certain locations, and when he changes the story, he has to get an idea first.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he's got the new idea, say he's in an area but he needs to make this area into like a murder mystery to make it fit the story, he'll then change the story for that area, and then the entire area will change to fit the new narrative. With all brand new assets, the rooms could move around, or like doors could appear or disappear, and that's really cool. And you could have, in some areas, it had like 3 or 4 different stories that you could bounce between. I don't know if you did this, but in like when I'd found a new story, I'd go back and check out all the old places with the story.
Especially in the hotel, like that section. I was just just going around everywhere, just doing everything. I was like, this is cool.
I just wanted to see what it would change.
How it would change. It would do. Yeah.
Well worth just going back and seeing all the and they did them for most of them. Because then you realise the amount of effort that went into developing that, because then I've had to design the same area sometimes 4 or 5 times.
4 or 5 times, yeah.
So they put a lot of effort into that. Having to read like the ballroom, but the ballroom had like 5 different different versions, and every single version was different. It's really cool.
Yeah.
But you have to do that a lot through the game. You have to do it for progression reasons as well. So you have to do that in order to get particular items or to open up a path and stuff. And that's just really.
This is what I mean when I say like I feel like Alan's writer's room and doing that on the board and all that to change. Like
it's better. Yeah,
it's better. It feels more involved in terms of the gameplay. It's not just
you're
right, and it's not doing much.
Because it's actually changing stuff in the game, and you're actually using it to interact with the wider world, as opposed to Sagas, which is you just are putting stuff on a writer's board. You're not changing anything in the game. But the other side of Sagas is obviously you have your profiling and stuff like that.
Yeah. That's better bit. Yeah.
So and there's a when you have the when Alan has the interaction with Door, I think we get a bit more of a we get a bit more information of what Alan's power actually is, and what he's doing when these changes happen. So it was originally thought, and the way Alan thinks it works is he's writing the story, and in the dark place is realizing what making the story reality.
Yeah.
But after his conversation with Door, I don't think that's what's actually happening. When he's speaking to Door, Door says to him that Alan keeps opening doors and peeking in, which is going to be different from rewriting the story. I think what's actually happening is the ideas that Alan's getting for the rewrites of the story are peeked into other worlds, peeked literally through the doors into other realities, and then him changing the story isn't changing the story, it's making that area reflect that other reality.
Do you know
it's opening up to the other reality, basically.
Brought me onto this idea is that he wrote Alex Casey into existence, whereas Alex Casey actually exists in real life, and he's just somehow saw it and written it into his own thing. So that's like I'm just thinking he's just seeing stuff from other places, or even from his own universe or different universes, like you said, and just writing them into his existence in his own dark place.
Because the stuff he writes about Alex Casey isn't all the same stuff that Alex Casey has done. It's not the same. But it could be it could be an alternate reality version of Alex Casey that he's then writing down into form. Which I think is cool. Which I think is quite cool. Like Alan's power is more than just writing a story and it becoming real.
Because let's face it, he's not the best writer in the world.
No.
Like some of his writing that you listen to, you're like, how did he get this author job?
But it's because it's alternate reality stuff. And alternate reality stuff has come up. The many worlds theory has come up in
all the games.
In the Remedy stuff multiple times. Yeah. It's like a
Remedy doing a multiverse, like better.
They were doing it before MCU, baby. and better. Yeah, I think that's what it is. And there's
Mm,
lots of references to multiple universes. Obviously, with Door being able to traverse them, with Alan being able to see into them, um, a bunch of different stuff going on with it. In
yeah.
Control, they have the in Control, you have the many worlds theory, which Dr. Casper speaks about. You also have the projector, and the projector and the slides are literal doors into other worlds.
Yeah.
That's where the hiss comes from. Yeah, it's very ingrained in the Remedy universe for their games. Very ingrained. So it's going to be cool to see what they do with it in the future.
That's
They
interesting though,
have
because I just thought like it was thought that Alan writ the hiss into existence, but maybe they just existed in another universe and he brought them in.
That's exactly it. Yeah, I think that's all Anne's doing. He's subconsciously looking into other universes, and just writing what's there basically, and
Mm.
that's how he's. But then when he's in the dark place, rather than just writing them in, he's actually like bringing them to where he is, because the dark place is more like it's more susceptible to be able to do that sort of thing. It's more of like an what's the word? It's more like porous to the outside world, that sort of stuff. So there probably is another world where the cult of the word is a real thing, because
Yeah.
at the you meant to think that Alan just wrote that. Well, not Alan, but Scratch just wrote that, which we'll get into. But you meant to think that that's just been written in, and then that's what's been realised. But no, there's probably a world where that is a real thing.
Yeah.
So getting into Alan and Scratch. So Scratch is in the game. Scratch pursues Alan multiple times while he's in the dark place.
Yeah, he's like a. Do you know what it reminds me of when he's pursuing him? Because obviously he's not pursuing him as a human form.
Yeah,
like a big shadow. It reminds me of, remember Lost? Remember the fucking black smoke monster?
There's definitely a smoke monster. Yeah,
I was like, wonder where he got his idea for this from.
Exactly, it's exactly that. It's exactly the same thing. You're right.
Did you ever get caught by it just to see what happened?
No, I didn't.
Mate, it's fucking brutal. It just like strangles you in black smoke. It's
Does
brutal.
it really?
Yeah.
When you die as Alan, like the picture that comes up when you die as Alan, that's a rough picture, man. That's a pretty horrific thing.
Yeah. Not this. This game should not be played by kids at all.
No, this is like it was.
Or anyone of the faint at heart.
Yeah.
Like we haven't talked about these, but like the fucking flashes that fucking just jump out at you with like random flashing like scary screens, mate. The amount of times they got me, like
tons.
It's like
come out and scream at you.
With most horror games, you can kind of like anticipate when the jump scares are going to come.
Yeah.
But with this, they just come randomly. Those do, and I'm like, fuck.
They just scream at you. They just scream out at you on the screen.
I'm there playing. I'm just like, it's just like you can't predict it at all, really.
No. Obviously, that's done on purpose.
Yeah.
But yeah, going back to so you find out like in the game that Alan hasn't wrote this story. So the story's called Return. It's for the return of the darkness or Scratch into the world from the first game. Alan hasn't wrote this story. Scratch just wrote this story. But he's had to write this story. Scratch doesn't have the ability to create a story. He can't do that. He has to use Alan in order to do it. And that's when you find out later in the game, much later on in the game, that Scratch has basically possessed Alan, and then comes when Alan gets out of the dark place. Scratch is in him. He's with him. Yeah.
Which we all guess.
And that, yeah. But look, if you thought
it wasn't the way I thought it was, though.
Neither of you were wrong, because he was both.
He was both
at the same time.
I thought it was Scratch, and then it was like when it was like, oh, it is Alan. I was like, okay, and then I was like, no, it's both. I was half right.
Yeah. But yeah, that's how they decided to do it, and I think that worked rather well, because then you fought Alan as Alan was Scratch.
That was a cool little fight.
That was a cool thing, and you do eventually win, but then he leaves Alan and goes into Alex Casey.
Yeah.
And then Alex Casey gets the clicker.
Yeah. That whole fight though, do you know what it reminded me of? You know the first game when you go to the stage and do all that stuff with the playing the music and all that. It's like it's a very similar setup, and you're like, it's a callback, but it's really cool. I like it.
Yeah. So they had to set up the ritual in order to bring Alan back from the dark place. They used the old gods of Asgard in order to do that. They performed their song while Saga fought off all the taken people, which was cool. And then Alan comes back, but not at the right time. And then
he's already come back. He came back when we met him before.
Exactly. So that's what that was, and that's when all the realization comes in. Like, oh, okay, Alan's only come back because I've already done this. Again, it just fits into like the loop sort of thing. Alan comes back, and then he appears for a second, and then goes back in time.
Mm-hmm.
But it's both Alan and Scratch at the same time. Never-ending loop, so you can't cut it. But yeah. Then you've got all the stuff with Alan Wake. So much to go into on his side. I don't want to go into everything.
Also shows that fight showed how powerful the Dark Presence is, because it broke out of the fucking FBC thing that's supposed to be able to contain these things. And
it broke out of it. that the only Dylan did break out of it in Control.
Yeah.
They
did better things, man.
He was super hot, like souped up on the hiss. When he did that. But yeah, they need better stuff, really.
Yeah, they need to upgrade.
You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of the box that they put Peter Parker in the new Spider-Man. When he was Venom, someone like Craven put him in. Also, it's exactly the same thing.
yeah, pretty much.
And still got out.
Yeah.
But yeah, and tons and tons of stuff going on. Yeah, on his side of things, his mechanics are really cool. His story is obviously very interesting. The way it loops, and it does loop every time. You go to multiple places each time. I think it's really cool. Yeah. I don't
like visually, just like being in the dark place. The dark place was just the best place.
Very different sort of environment.
Very
different sort of environment, because it was very much city based. It was a rendition of New York City.
Yeah.
It's like a single block of it basically. And you're running around hitting all different areas on there. Stuff would appear as you need it.
Yeah.
Go away when you don't, like the hotels and things like that.
Yeah, I liked like changing the places was kind of like a puzzle aspect of the game, where you just using it to solve where you need to go and get to places. It's cool, man.
Yeah, I liked it. It's really cool. What else do you want to go into with that? There's tons of stuff. I've just been talking for the last half an hour about it.
With Alan, just I don't know. You've kind of covered a lot of it, to be fair.
There's tons. I've not even touched on most of it.
Yeah, it's a very, the world of this whole thing is just very interesting, and it's like, it's well built, and you can tell they've taken their time to kind of make sure it all works together. You know what I mean? In terms of Alan, I mean, his gameplay's just like, I prefer his side. Like, out of the two, who did you prefer to play as? Because I definitely preferred Alan.
It's the same, Alan, because I think he had more interesting mechanics.
Yeah.
I did like more. Saga was more exploratory. So you'd run around and look for stuff more as Saga, because the areas are more wide open, whereas Alan was much more linear.
Yeah.
But I liked the stuff that Alan had going on, like the changing the areas and the different mechanics and the escaping the darkness and things like that. It was cool.
Like, to me, Alan's felt more survival horror than Saga's, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. I think that was the intention.
It's definitely
as well,
scarier.
To be fair. Yeah.
Like, but to be fair, like, both are good, but I just feel like Alan was more engaging in terms of gameplay, and just visually, it had the best stuff and used the live action stuff super well, like the best in that section, in the Alan section, like especially like the musical, like. No one expected the fucking musical, and they just throw a whole 15 minutes musical on you, and it's like, I love this.
I think so. When that first hits, like, I had no idea that was coming. When that first hits, I was like, my mind was blown just running through that as that was kicking off. Looking back at it now, I'm just gonna be like, that's gonna go down as one of the greatest.
That's
games that ever happened.
What's the moment in Control when it's like playing the music and you're going through?
Oh, when you're going through that ashtray maze.
Yeah, that's for this game.
And Take Control starts playing. From the same band.
Yeah.
Poets of what they're called.
Poets of something.
Poets of something. Yeah, I forget their names. The band that actually.
Poets of Old. Maybe?
No, I forget. I'll have a quick look. But when they're going through the ashtray maze and the song's playing, it's what gets you through the ashtray maze. Really cool.
Yeah, but this is like that moment for this game. Like, this is the one that everyone's going to remember. And they better perform it at the Game Awards. But like, just seeing like that, you can tell they had so much fun doing it as well. Because we're doing all, especially Sam Lake there, just
Absolutely.
doing all his little dances.
You had Sam Lake. You had. I've got to look up the actor's name for the one that played Mr.
Door.
Door. Yeah.
Martin Harewood. Is it Harewood? I feel like it's Harewood.
I've seen a bunch of stuff.
It's something Harewood. David Harewood. I think.
Bear with me.
But yeah, the music stuff was just amazing. The only thing that annoyed me in the music stuff was like, could you just not give me enemies, like, because they're distracting me from the musical? Because like sometimes they just throw them at you, and I was running out of ammo at one point. I was like, for fuck's sake, just like, I want to watch the musical, leave me alone. At one point where I was just pressing the dodge button, just running through him because I ran out of bullets. So I was just like,
yeah. You just keep going. Well, I'll just end up using the because they keep giving you tons of ammo for the flare gun.
Flare gun,
So
yeah.
To be fair, use that for a bit. David Harwood,
yeah.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. But like this whole section was just so well done, and it's way longer than I ever expected it to be.
So well done. It was longer, and it was originally they didn't even want it in the game.
Yeah, it was so close to being cut. Apparently,
for that.
Yeah,
they had to fight for that. Imagine how stupid they must feel now, saying that they wanted to cut that out when literally it's what half of the time you're talking about.
Yeah. People are playing this game solely because they've heard about this. Like musical.
Literally, don't listen to these people. Sam Lake knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Let him do his thing.
Yeah. Sam Lake's I was going to get onto this later, but what do you reckon Sam Lake's getting onto the level of Kojima? Like,
he's doing well. He's doing well.
Like, the thing is, he doesn't get the recognition I feel like he deserves for his games. That's the only problem. Like, he might do now.
We'll wait for Alan Wake to sort some order off. We'll get the DLC out. Control some of the best writing I've ever seen in the video game.
Yeah, and it just didn't get any recognition, really. Not like mainstream, which really annoys me.
Do you know what, though? This will be successful, and it will spur people to go and play Control.
Yeah. Well, it makes me want to go back and play all the fucking Remedy games. Like...
Yeah, Control will get a big spur off of this, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Especially when the DLC comes out for this game.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm hyped for that, to be fair. But, like, I definitely think in terms of writing and stuff, like... He's like the Western Kojima.
Yeah.
Like, I can't think of any other Western game director that's on that level.
Yeah.
That I can think off the top of my head. Like, he's one of those as well. Like, you know who Sam Lake is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you actually know the name.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't help. It does help that he puts himself in his own stuff, but still.
If he can, then why not, man? He's got
like anyone else. You know what? Anyone else, I would see that as a little bit pretentious, but I'm like, you know what?
He's got one of the most
recognizable
faces in gaming. Well, pulling that Max Payne face as that thing is set up for life.
Yeah,
he's done, mate. Everyone's going to know who you are forever.
Yeah. And like, just some of his like directing choices and stuff, like on point. Like I like to the point where like if they made a movie in this universe, I would want him involved massively because like it's his DNA is all over this. Like in terms of like how it feels like art and it feels just so well done. Like it's very Twilight Zone, Twin Peaksy, all that. Like it's very. You can tell he's like inspirations to get to where he is with these games. It's really cool.
Yeah,
it's well impressive.
I reckon they could probably have like a spin-off series from this sort of universe with something else going on.
Yeah,
and it'll probably work quite well. To be fair, with the
I have heard they're doing an Alan Wake show with AMC. I heard that from his mouth himself. At EGX.
I wouldn't want an Alan Wake show. I reckon I could do something else.
I'd rather than build on the universe with a show rather than adapt it. If you know what I'm adapt the games.
Yeah, definitely. Like you with the FBC, you could do so much with the FBC. You could have like a task force. Like,
just call the show FB fucking C.
Just call it FBC, and you can and it'll just have like a particular task force that goes out and deals with like paranatural stuff.
Yeah.
And that could be the whole show, and that'd be great. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Finding and dealing with like altered objects and finding objects of power and dealing with like superpowered messed up beings, and that'd be cool, man. They could do that. Set it in like the 70s or the 80s as well. You don't have to have it modern day.
Yeah. So if it's like if it's like set back then, it doesn't necessarily have to. It won't like they won't have to change anything. Like it won't affect
nothing
anything
that's happened now would affect anything
happening.
Exactly. But they won't have to worry about Alan Wake or the hiss or anything like that. They could just it was all set up in the 60s, so the 80s would probably be a great time to have it.
But they are doing an Alan Wake show apparently.
Yeah, well, they want the money, don't they? That's
yeah. I mean, I'll watch it, and I'm sure if Sam Lake's involved, it'll work. Like, they pretty much got a load of actors they can choose from that they've already cast.
yeah, true.
So true. I could see it working.
Just get the same guys in, yeah.
Yeah. And Sam Lake, I'm sure, will be in it himself because he's. Why would he not be?
Yeah.
But yeah, nah, but like,
is he Finnish, Sam Lake? Is he Finnish or is it Swedish or?
I think he's Finnish. I think he's definitely around that Scandinavian area.
Yeah,
for sure. But let's just like
he's Finnish.
The directing style of this game, like there's no other game like the stuff that he does. Like, not just this one, like Control and everything. There's no other games that do storytelling and the mixing of live action and everything like that, as well as Remedy do. It's just definitely on point. And I'm pretty sure it's one of the only games that are doing a fucking connected like MCU type universe. So, which is also super impressive. Like,
I think this Alan Wake 2 will open up a lot of people's perception to what they're trying to do.
Yeah,
and they'll be spurned on by the fact that this is very ultra connected universe into going and playing their old stuff. So, like, if you haven't played Alan Wake 1, obviously Control will be the other major one. Yeah. I really do expect a lot more buzz around Control to be coming out now, and you'll probably hear a lot about it online. And especially as there's now confirmed making the second one, and they've got one concept picture from the second one, which is already really interesting. Have you seen the picture for the Control 2? It's only concept art, but it shows the in Control you have the floating people basically that are caused by the hiss or the resonance. But they've got that, but just outside the front doors of the FBC.
Oh, so we're going out into the city, probably.
So I reckon we'll be going out into the city and dealing with. I don't know if it'll be the hiss or something else entirely, or who knows. Maybe it'll be the darkness.
Yeah.
Again, but the darkness is in the DLC. I think it's pretty much confirmed now that the darkness is a lot more powerful than the hiss was.
Yeah.
And it can cause a lot more issues than the hiss can. Like, it can change literal reality around you. So yeah, it causes problems.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the hiss will just do that. We'll mess stuff up. The darkness needs someone to latch onto in order to
maybe
make it happen.
What if the darkness latched onto the hiss? That would cause many issues.
Well, you sir, need to go and play the Control AWE.
Yeah, I do actually. It's one of those I need to go back and play.
100%. Yeah. So come talk to me after you've done that.
I know what happens in it.
Yeah, I've just completed 2 days ago for the fourth time. I've completed the main game. Yesterday, I finished the foundation for the third time, and now I'm going to play AWE for the second time, probably starting today. Get through that, and that's obviously got a ton of Alan Wake related stuff on there.
It's going to be
cool to see what they referenced, what they were referencing to, like 2 or 3 years before the fact.
Some of the stuff with Dora and stuff makes me want to go back and play Quantum Break a little bit as well. It's because I can't remember that story. I might just go back and watch videos, to be honest.
Well, I only played it once, and it was the one on my channel, so I didn't really absorb it all in. Because when you're playing for the channel, you don't really absorb.
Back when we used to do that.
Back when we used to do that. So I might give that another look. To be fair, go back and give that a smash. I've got it on PC, so it's on Game Pass.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. I think it was taken off at one point, but it's back on there now. I'm sure. But yeah, I mean, do you reckon it will win Game of the Year?
I think it depends on the person you're going to ask. So like a ton of the Game of the Year things, they're fan voted, so it's just going to end up being a popularity vote rather than what's actually best.
Well, I think
of the games I've played, yes, but I haven't played Baldur's Gate 3. So what can I say? I
feel like at Game Awards, it's nominated. I reckon it has it's between that and Baldur's Gate 3, whether it will win it. I think it definitely deserves it because it's like, while Baldur's Gate 3 is amazing, it's just a very good RPG, and it doesn't really change like the landscape of RPGs. It's like it's basically just
change the genre. Yeah.
It's very much like this is the best of everything we've ever had in an RPG in one. You know what I mean? Whereas like I feel like Alan Wake pushes its genre forward. Like, it's one of the best survival horror games I've ever played, and it's just like the stuff it does. It just is amazing, and I think because especially the Game Awards, I think because they're mostly like outlet voted. I feel like Alan Wake has a really good chance of winning, but it's going to be close.
Baldur's Gate is everyone's go-to. Maybe it'll get some other awards. Maybe it'll get stuff like art direction. I think
Golden Joysticks have already happened. Baldur's Gate won Game of the Year voted by fans, and then I think it was
the Critics Award.
Award was Alan Wake. So it's like that's what makes me lean towards Alan Wake for Game Awards. Yeah. But I'm still on the fence. I'm like, when we do our predictions episode, I still don't know what I'm going for. I'll go decide on the day. But it definitely deserves it. Like, it's crazy that like there's like 10 or like at least 10 games that deserve Game of the Year this year. That's how good this year has been. Isn't it? Yeah, it's mad. But yeah, my worry is that the vote splits between Alan Wake and Baldur's Gate 3, and then Tears of the Kingdom wins because of the votes being split.
Tears of the Kingdom was very good, and Tears of the Kingdom, I'll be honest, was probably the most fun I've had with playing a game this year. It's difficult. Well, anyway, we might be having a discussion about it.
We'll be doing that at some point.
But yeah, Alan Wake's fantastic. Like, honestly, definitely up there with one of my favourite games.
Yeah.
Like Remedy smashing it out, man. They're killing it with these.
Yeah, Remedy haven't. I mean, they've brought out like other projects that isn't in the universe and it isn't in this whole like Control, Alan Wake, and all that kind of break. But like, they brought out other stuff that hasn't done as well. But like, it's like side projects to kind of keep the company afloat to be able to do all these big games. So like, that's fine. But like, they're big games that they've done. They've never faltered really. Yeah,
but they've been really clever with it as well, because the way they set up Control and the way that stuff in that universe works with like the objects and the AWEs and the areas and things like that. Like, literally anything can happen in that universe. Literally anything.
They've set up a lot of stuff that they could just like kind of take from and make a whole game about.
Exactly. They can do literally anything, and it will fit within the universe, and they can make it fit within the universe, so they can link them all together. It's a very, very clever way of doing it. Very clever way.
They've got a multiplayer game in the works within the universe, so it's like that'll be interesting how that lands. And what they do with that in terms of story and stuff and how it's connected. But like, I think if any game's going to fail, it's going to be the multiplayer game.
Free to play to a premium game, aren't they?
Yeah, I kind of like that though, because free to play at the moment is just a nightmare. I think look at Overwatch 2. So we used to love that game, and now look at it. But yeah, I think just like this year has been amazing for games, but like this is like up the top for me.
Definitely.
It's one of my favourite games ever.
Yeah, definitely. This Control, just going back and playing Control, and I'm just like, it's so good. I don't know how this game is so goddamn good. I will get back around and play Alan Wake again. There's definitely going to be stuff you're going to pick up on a second playthrough for sure. They are releasing. If you're thinking about playing Alan Wake again, don't do it yet.
What, the second one or the first one?
The second one.
Oh, yeah. The New Game Plus is coming, right? And it's got different new stuff on, right? Yeah,
exactly that. Yeah, they've got a New Game Plus coming. It's going to have a couple of different bits. I think it's going to play into the whole the loop aspect of it. Like the end of the game, I don't think Alan's dead. Like,
well, no, because he gets up from being shot in the head. He gets up and he's like, "It's a spiral." Oh my god.
Yeah, exactly. So Anne's not going to be dead. They're not going to.
Well, I think his wife's alive as well. She pretends to.
But she'll be one of the
DLC. She's the one who rings him at the end. So.
Yeah, she'll be one of the DLC. She's in the lake. She went in the lake to go and get Alan.
Yeah,
and she talks to Saga when she's when Saga's in the dark place.
Yeah.
Just insane.
There's a lot of
so much, and they can do so much. There's a lot to happen from there. Over the next probably like 18 months, we'll get multiple DLCs. That will be awesome. Did you get
Did you get the one with the expansion pass?
No, I didn't. But I'm not going to not play it. At the end of the day,
See, I got it because I was like, I know I'm going to play it. Like before I even finished the game, I was like, I know I'm going to play it, so I'm just going to get the expansion pass straight away.
Yeah, exactly. I reckon they'll have a few people working on the DLCs and more people working on Control too. I wouldn't be surprised if the Control DLC then links straight into the second game.
Yeah.
It might even set up the second game for what.
Well, yeah, because the last DLC for Control set up this, so
yeah,
that's
exactly.
my guess. Yeah,
exactly.
Makes sense.
It would make sense. Makes sense.
They have a plan, and I like it.
Yeah. Gosh, what else was that? Just so much stuff. We're here forever if we talk about everything within the game.
Yeah.
But just a fantastic game. If you're on the fence with it, go and play it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be very surprised if you're still here. If you've not played it.
Yeah.
What the hell are you doing?
Yeah, you just ruined the whole game for yourself.
Just ruined the whole game. Yeah.
But thanks for the watch.
Yeah. But even just gameplay wise, it's definitely worth going to play.
Yeah.
Going and playing the game.
And if you're put off by scary games, like there is jump scares, but like once you get over what they are, they're not.
It's not like Dead Space or something like that. It's not like
it's
that.
Not
it's
constant
more suspenseful than horror.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's more suspense than horror.
Yeah.
And like when you're as Saga in the woods shooting stuff, like it's not really scary. It's more actiony at that point.
Yeah.
But it's definitely within the survival horror genre for sure. More so than the first game was. The first game was far more shootery than this is.
Yeah. Definitely.
But no, great game. Great game.
Yeah.
Xbox will play something 5. It will play 5. It's one of the few games that. Like,
well, we haven't talked about the tech side of stuff. Like you played on PC, obviously. How was that? Seeing it with the beautiful ray tracing and everything.
Excellent. Like it's the best rendition of that sort of technology I've seen. Yet,
even better than Cyberpunk.
I've been able to access. So Cyberpunk does have better stuff.
But not good enough.
And
computer.
stuff. But like realistically, like to have the computer that can play that sort of stuff, you have to spend like £4,000 on it.
Yeah.
Which I have not.
Yeah. Don't blame you.
but it ran well enough. I tuned in the settings. I had to play different settings for the Saga sections and the Alan Wake sections.
Okay.
Yeah, I could get away with more in the Alan Wake sections. So
because it's less of a world, I guess.
Yeah. And the biggest killer was the foliage, all the plant stuff. Absolutely rinsed the computer.
Yeah, it would do.
Yeah. So on the Alan Wake stuff, I could turn the settings up higher, which was cool. It wasn't that much; it was a resolution change, really. But yeah, the path tracing and things like that, and the global illumination, like they're doing a lot of stuff. Remedy are getting a name for themselves now with having future tech, pushing the tech. Like I was playing everything on mostly low medium.
Ooh.
Settings wise, low medium settings wise. But low medium like that's not anything. It's not like it looks like Minecraft. Like they've set up a new bar for what those settings mean. So like low medium are what most people will be playing on. In this game, and then they've set it up for the future where like even more powerful hardware will be able to push it even further. They did the same thing with Control when that came out. Like the ray tracing stuff had only just came on the market when Control came out.
It didn't launch with the game on console, but now you can do ray tracing on the console now.
You can do some ray tracing on the console. Even the PS5 and the Series X can't do most of what the feature set offers in Control. Replaying that with all the bells and whistles on is very, very nice. It's a very good looking game. And I'll come back to Alan Wake in like 3, 4, 12 years and turn everything to max and see what that looks like.
Definitely. Same with Cyberpunk. Like I tried.
Cyberpunk, I'm waiting.
I put the path tracing on Cyberpunk, and I was like 10 frames. I was like, it looks nice when I'm standing still.
If you were to take a screenshot, it looked great.
No, to be fair though, you can put it on just for photo mode, which is great for that game. And I'm like, my photos look so much better than the game I'm seeing.
Yeah. I'm waiting for one setting in Cyberpunk. So they've introduced FSR3. They said they're going to release it for Cyberpunk, which is their like frame generation stuff. But it works on everything rather than just the newest version of the NVIDIA stuff.
Yeah.
As soon as that's out, then I'll be.
See my problem with Cyberpunk stuff. I don't even have the DLSS stuff because I'm on AMD anyway. So it's like fucks me over.
You've got FSR. Yeah, FSR's nowhere near as good as the DLSS, to be honest. But you do have access to the frame generation through the driver. Look into it.
I've messed around with a lot of stuff. A little bit. I've been messing around with it, seeing what the best settings are. Like
it can
I've looked
almost
them up.
double your frame rate.
Yeah,
It can almost double your frame rate. It's good stuff. But that's obviously nothing to do with Alan Wake.
yeah.
But yeah, it's pushing the consoles hard. The consoles are mostly running at lowest settings, if not lower than what the
But you know what?
PC
It
is allowed
still
to do.
looks
But it still
fucking
looks
stunning.
amazing.
Like there's
But it still looks
moments
amazing.
where it looks live action and when it's not. It's wild. Like there's a bit, I remember, like especially I noticed it loads of times when Alan was on the phone in the like dark place area, and it like from certain angles I just like paused it and I'm like, well, this just looks real. Like his hair looked really good, and it was just this could be a photo and I wouldn't even know. Like it's crazy how good games are looking these days.
It's crazy how good games are looking when the developers know what they're doing with it.
Yeah. I think we're finally getting now. We're finally getting next gen games. Now 3 years after the fucking console come out, we're getting next gen games now. Took their time, but
you can tell the difference for sure.
Definitely.
For sure. I'm looking forward to what they're going to do from now on. Cool. Is there anything else you want to talk about Alan Wake 2? I mean, there's tons of stuff there we haven't talked about, but that's fine. We don't have to go through everything.
If we talked about everything, we'd be here for like 6 hours.
Like I said, we'll be here forever and ever. Yeah.
And I'm sure we'll talk about it again when we do our like Game of the Year stuff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because we'll predict the Game Awards stuff, and then once that's all done, and then like maybe like later in December or like early January, we do like our Game of the Years. Yeah, our highlights of the whole year.
Hopefully, more people have played it by then as well. Because
I think Kate will definitely get onto it. She's going to play Control and then go and play this. So. Even though she's watched the story.
It's how she likes to do things.
Yeah, it's just, I don't get it, but you know, go off, do what you want to do.
Each to their own, I guess. Each to their own. But no worries. Shall we leave it there then?
Yeah. Let us know what you think of Alan Wake 2, whether it's your game of the year, and if not, what is. And we'll see you next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe, all that jazz. Bye.